Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun. Now there's a title. Whew. Now technically this did come out back in December, however I only just recently got around to it. In large part because back in December I was focused on holiday gear and looking up holiday movies and holiday specials for something to review for holiday gear. I don't think I'm going to be doing that again anytime soon, or maybe I'll just use it as an excuse to go off on holiday-related topics and entertainment. But for the most part, I was focused on putting together that show, and I was also doing my most favorite and most hated of 2020 lists, putting those together and seeing what really needed to be on that list and what I could afford to push off the list. Also, if I'm being entirely honest, it's a sketch comedy show, and I have had kind of a real love-hate relationship with sketch comedies in the recent couple of years, not to mention comedy in general. For starters, if there's one thing I'm looking forward to in 2021, it's that, hey look, Donald Trump isn't going to be a punchline anymore. I hope. And of course we get to the other half of the problem, sketch comedy. Now I like sketch comedy, I love a good sketch every now and then, but if we're being entirely honest, sketch comedy as a whole is a real roll of the dice. And if you're lucky, you get some pure comedy gold, otherwise you get a handful of duds. And it's never consistent, you know? Even the good sketch comedy troupes put on an occasional dud every now and then, like Kids in the Hall put out Brain Candy, or Monty Python's Flying Circus put out The Meaning of Life. You know, that's just, not everything is going to be comedy gold. But hopefully, the good outweighs the bad. And unfortunately, in the last couple of years, I have encountered some of that where the bad kind of outweighs the good. I could go on and on about my experiences with Baroness Von Sketch Show or I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, but we'll try and stay on topic here and talk about today's subject, Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun. Maybe if I get enough followers to warrant a Patreon, I can put that down as a Patreon reward for if I reach a certain milestone. But for the foreseeable future, I wouldn't hold your breath. So yeah, Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun is a sketch comedy show, and while I admit I was going in skeptical, I actually ended up enjoying most of what I saw. Maybe not every sketch on the show was laugh-out-loud hilarious, but I could at least see the joke, and I was at least willing to applaud them because I thought it was a clever joke, or at least an amusing concept they had in mind. Admittedly, yes, there are a couple of sketches that maybe wear out their welcome. One that stood out in particular was the one with Ellen DeGeneres, quote-unquote, giving the guy a $10,000 check and then a Toyota and then a trip to Thailand, and it goes off the rails. And I'll admit, it was a funny sketch at first, but by the time he discovered the wormhole into the infinity of time and space, that was kind of the point where I was thinking, okay guys, the horse is dead, you might want to move on here. Fortunately though, a lot of those sketches are few and far between based on the episodes I've seen, so when your success rate is like, for every 5 good sketches you have one that's kind of a flop, I'd say you're doing okay. One thing I do notice about this show is that there's always an overarching theme in the episode. Like, there are sketches that have their own, like, 2 legs that they stand on, but the sketches are built around the premise of, for example, finding a new roommate or searching for buried treasure and stuff like that. Another thing I notice is that 9 times out of 10, Zach, Mark, and Broden are Zach, Mark, and Broden in every single sketch. Like, not once do they ever change their names to be like somebody else. Although it's very possible they're portraying other characters when they do the Family Feud sketch or when they have Seinfeld, quote-unquote, or Ellen DeGeneres, quote-unquote. But 9 times out of 10, they're basically themselves the entire time. And I don't think I've seen that in a modern sketch comedy show, although to be fair, I haven't really been following a whole lot of sketch comedy troupes, so for all I know, this is probably something everybody does now. It's an interesting change of pace. Overall, I do not hate this show. In fact, I actually kind of like it quite a bit. Based on my 3-episode sampler, I will definitely watch more of this show, and I will definitely recommend this show to you. I will give Aunty Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun 3 hats out of 4. And that's going to do it for this week's Hatflix and Chill. Be sure to come back next week when I have another review for your viewing pleasure. In the meantime, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and follow me on Twitter at TommyTealHat. Until next time, folks.